Marcelinho Huertas is 42 years old and putting up fantastic numbers in one of the best leagues in the world. Clearly, he's not the most athletic, he's not the tallest, he's a good shooter, but it's not like he's the best in Europe. But he makes the game look so easy. And most of this is built around his feel for the game, his IQ, the craftiness, all of which, of course, are incredibly tough to develop, but are things that you guys can add to your game. So I'm gonna break down how somebody who's twice the age of some of his defenders is killing at one of the highest levels of basketball in the world. Let's get to it. First off, let's take a look at his pick and roll game, how he kills each ball screen coverage with his mind more than anything, making it incredibly hard to find something that can stop him. First off, here's when the defense goes over and that big is in drop coverage, so sagging back a bit. And considering he's damn near automatic from this deeper mid-range area, this is a tough one to stop. He's also fantastic at exaggerating the distance between this big and the roller, which either gives him an advantage to get space on a slower defender, or pulls this big out so far to commit to him that this pocket pass is here and wide open. Even when they do play it well, he loves these creative ball fakes where he shows a pass, gets them leaning back towards the roller, and then knocks it down. Okay, so clearly drop is tough to stop him. But why do they play it if it makes it so easy to get into his bread and butter mid-range? Well, because when they try to go under and force him to shoot, that doesn't really work out too well either. He can make these at a high clip where the defender goes under and he sits behind the screen and knocks it down. But I also like how he doesn't settle here. Sometimes he'll use this to chip his man on the screen and create a nice driving angle. And then his favorite is allowing them to go under, having the big flip the screen lower, which usually forces them to go over the next one. This one's a cheat code all PGs should be aware of. And what does this end up in 90% of the time? Normal drop coverage, and usually with this big even more out of position. So even if they go under, he's probably gonna find a way to turn it into a drop. Even if this means playing a little exaggerated cat and mouse game, making the defender chase him, and being super patient finding a good shot. Or even better, having the big roll into the defender who's going under to force a switch. Alright, so they still haven't found a way to stop it. Maybe they send a hard hedge or a blitz at him. Nope, not that either. He's super composed here and keeps the ball away very well. It doesn't rush. It can either hit the short roll here before the big gets back, split the ball screen on an overly aggressive blitz, string the big out to get a switch, or take this wide angle to get into space, or have two defenders chasing you. So this one's also cooked. And on top of that, he's also one of the best I've ever seen at manipulating the big to be late, flat, and behind. Here's what I mean by this. So we talked about flipping ball screens where they go under, but regardless of the coverage here, he's constantly looking to get this big to commit to one side. So if they reset this ball screen here, that big is way out of position, especially on hard hedges like this. Just watch on all these clips how much the bigs are running around aimlessly. And even when they do recover, they're just a bit late or a bit out of control. And he can take advantage of this. On this one, the big has no idea where he's at. It's tough to guard, man. This could even be a simple Verjao screen like this where the big flips it at the last second. So now he's playing it on the wrong side. He's also fantastic at using step-up screens going towards the sideline, which put the defense in a tough position since they often have to cover a ton of ground to tag this roll. And because it's a little bit unorthodox and usually a quicker, more random action, most bigs are not set yet, and he comes off with a head of steam one-on-one against a big man around this angle. Finally, and this is an ingredient to all of these, he sets up these ball screens very well. Not just the traditional way of walking them down to the level of the screen, but creatively getting this defender just a few milliseconds behind the play or a few steps behind the play and forcing them to get hit hard by the screen. Now let's talk passing, which actually may be the signature piece of his game, having led his league in assists last year at 41. First here, he's a professional chaos creator, especially considering how creatively he uses ball screens and how unpredictable it is. The defense is constantly shifting, rotating, and whether he gets a paint touch or not, he's molding the defense how he wants to, which is essential to facilitate like he does. And the way he sees the game multiple steps ahead is incredible to watch. He understands and anticipates all the compensations in the defense. For example, getting downhill off of this reject right behind this rolling big means that this area of the defense is going to need to compensate. Before this defender can even fully rotate, he's swinging it over the top. Here he knows this wide open roll to the basket is going to mean this guy is probably going to have to scoot over and tag pretty intensely, so he uses his eyes to make sure of this and hits the corner. Or here, if he draws two on the ghost, you got a 2v1 here. The defender is going to jump to help on that flare, so you got a slip coming. And on all of these, not just finding the first look. He understands that the first look will probably be taken away. It's the compensations that happen to take that away that are often the most open. But this takes patience, even in chaos. On these, he's got 2 on the ball and thus a 2v1 down here, but he waits that extra millisecond in pressure to see how this tag will play it and what will open up. He's also a master at shot fakes to passes, where he'll go up in the air, get the entire defense thinking he's going to shoot it. So of course they relax, look at the rim, find the box out, whatever, and he fires in a pass. And his overall accuracy is absurd. He constantly finds not only the only window to get the ball through, but the one that's ideal for his teammates' momentum, like hitting the roll at his outside hand here to let him float it on the way to the basket. And then lastly, let's take a look at some of the tools he uses to put the ball in the basket, starting with his midi game, most of which are off of ball screens, of course. Because of his ball screen IQ, he constantly finds himself in these situations where it's a retreating big or a chasing guard, both of which have to turn their hips to stop the drive to the bucket. And as soon as he gets these hips turned, it's an easy opportunity for him to pull up. And he's fantastic at manipulating the timing, letting the ball hang, looking off, to be unpredictable getting up in the air, and even drawing a foul here. His jumper is also super adaptable. Just watch how on all these he's adjusting his form to give himself the best chance to get it off and make it, whether it's hanging, shooting it higher, shooting from a staggered footwork, shooting more of a push shot. And mind you, he shoots almost 50% on jumpers and around 47% off the dribble, shooting pretty high volume shots like this. You should probably work on this too. And talk about adaptability, this little runner, floater, one-leg midi bag is his true signature. And honestly, I don't even have anything to say here. I just want y'all to watch these. Anyways, he's also super crafty with pump fakes, which is an essential part to every UNC style game. And despite how much of a ball screen heavy player he is, his off the catch game is also really nice. He's never in a rush, and that's part of his superpower here. He throws off the closing out defenders with speed changes, slow fakes, and then knows where to attack based on where the gaps are. And he has a ton of footwork options to make this happen. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, learned something from this video. There's so many players that you can learn from out there that you may not even know of. So I'd encourage you guys to continue to be curious, continue to break the game down, and see what happens.